standard, we are going to piggyback off what we already learned about quadratics. We're going to talk about graphing, but in a different way than what we've already learned. This is standard 7A. First step you need to know is how to identify values of a quadratic equation. You need to learn how to do A, B, and C. And remember, f of x equals ax plus bx plus c. So let's look at this first problem right here. Remember, ax plus bx plus c. We want to identify a, b, and c. In this case, a equals -3, b equals +7, and c equals -9. As you can tell, I kept the signs with it. Even if it's a subtraction sign, that means negative in the a, b, and c. Let's go to the next one. It looks a little different. X squared minus 16. A goes with the x squared. A is 1. B goes with the bx. Well, there is no x, so that means it is 0. And c is -16. This is how to identify A, B, and C. How to find the vertex. To graph a quadratic equation, we must first know the vertex. To find the vertex, use the following formula. X equals -b over 2a. And what this formula is going to do is going to help you identify the x value in the coordinates. And then you're going to take that x and you're going to substitute it into the equation to find the f of x or y value. Now, using this equation, let's use the first equation. 2x squared plus 8x minus 1. A is 2, b is 8, and c is -1. Now, all you need is a and b. So we're going to plug that in. X equals -b. So that becomes -8 because 8 was positive. And then 2 times a. So 2 times 2. X equals -8 over 4. X is equivalent to -2. Now, I'm not finished. That just gave me the x value for this equation. Okay, remember, x equals -2. And I'm now going to plug that into the formula. 2, -2 squared plus 8 times -2 minus 1. Now follow the order of exponents. And remember, all this is f of x or y equals. -2 squared is +4, so that becomes 2 times 4 plus 8 times -2 minus 1. Order of operations, multiply next. 8 minus 16 minus 1. Combine all 8, 16, and 1, and I get -9. So the vertex is -2, -9, where the x value is -2, and the y value is -9. Now, once you do this, you can graph the equation. Now let's do the next one. X squared plus 2x minus 5. A is 1, B is 2, C is -5. Of course, I don't need C. Now plug it in. -2 divided by 2 times 1. X is equivalent to -1. I now plug that in. -1 squared plus 2 times -1 minus 5. 1 minus 2 minus 5, and I get -6. So my vertex is -1, -6. To graph a quadratic equation, first step, find the vertex. Second step, make a table of values with the x value of the vertex, the center of the table. It just makes it easier that way. Use the x value of the vertex as the center number in the table. To find the y value of the vertex by substituting the x value into the equation and evaluating for y or f of x. Now pick the next 3 numbers above and below and use that to help graph. Okay, so let's go with this one. -x squared plus 6x minus 4. Okay, so my first step here is to find the vertex. Again, I'm using x equals -b divided by 2a. Now remember, that is -b. So we're going to plug in x equals, it's like saying -1 times b, and I get -6 times 2 times negative 1. I get x equals negative 6 divided by negative 2. Negative divided by negative is a positive, and I get x equals 3. I now plug that into the equation. Negative 3 squared, plus 6 times 3 minus 4. Positive 9 plus 18 minus 4. I apologize, that's negative 9. Because that's saying negative 1 times 3 squared. So that's going to be negative 9 plus 18, which is going to be 9 minus 4, and I get 5. Now, I'm glad I did that. That is not negative 3 squared. That would be negative on the outside of the parentheses, because that's like saying negative 1 times x squared. So our vertex is 3, 5. So that's where I'm going to start my table. 3, 5. I go up and I get 2, 4. 1, 1, 0, negative 4. 4, 4. 5, 1. 6, negative 4. I now graph. Now, you might be asking yourself, how do I get those y values? Okay, so let's choose 2. Okay, when x is 2, y is 4. When x equals 2, y is equal to 4. How do we get that besides just plugging into a calculator? This is how you do it. You plug the x value into the equation. And that's how you do it for every one of them. Let's do another one. 3x squared minus 12x plus 7. First step, find the vertex. X equals negative b over 2a. In this case, a is 3, b is negative 12. Now, what happens when the b is already negative? It looks like this. That's like saying negative 1 times negative 12, which gives us positive 12 over 6. In this case, x equals 2. Okay. X equals 2. I now plug that in. 3 times 2 squared minus 12 times 2 plus 7. And I get negative 5. So my vertex is 2, negative 5. I'm now going to plug in 1. For the value of x. 3 times 1 minus 12 plus 7. 3 minus 12 is negative 9 plus 7, and I get negative 2. So that means 1, negative 2 is the next coordinate. And that also means 3, negative 2, because it's a mirror image. Now remember to use a table when doing this. I hope this helps you when graphing quadratics.